a precision slider down here where you can get either more exact, high, medium, low, and we just went all the way low because I wanted a lot of things to match. And then our condition 2 is, once again, we're going back to e-commerce contacts, but now we're matching on email for loyalty scheme. So we wanted to match on full name and email. And down here on email, we wanted a little bit higher precision. So we put that at high. Gave it a name, and I said, okay. So based on full name and email, we got a 98% match for our records. We could did the same thing for hotel customers, did the same thing for customer service. I'll quickly hit on that real fast. So for full name between hotel customers and our e-commerce, we only got 7.5% match there because I guess we had a lot of hotel customers that didn't match our kind of parent group of contacts. And then when it comes down here into customer service, once again, we did an email match there, and we got an 8.1% match on those records. So this is, that was the matching. And then after we've matched everything, we can get into merging. And we run the merge, and it merges everything based on the match criteria that we set up. And after that's done, we see that we have 8 combined customer fields. We have 14 individual customer fields, and we have 23 fields that we excluded because there didn't seem to be a match or really much use for those fields. And we can analyze this a little bit more by coming down here, and we can see where all the fields came from that we are merging on. And we have that number we saw before back on match, just almost, well, a little under 15,000 for our matched records. So really, this is how we are building our unified data set. We just built our unified data set. We mapped everything, we matched it, and then we merged it, and now we have a unified data set. And during that process, too, we built out our list of entities. So here are all the entities that we now have that's in Customer Insights. We have some unified activity. We have some enrichment. Some of this we haven't really gotten to yet, but I'll show it here in a few minutes. We have some intelligence. We have our measures and our risks and our segments. And then down here below is really where I guess I should have started, where my conversation was going, is for the user. We have these entities that we just loaded during the map, match, and merge. These other items up above that I kind of talked about, we're going to get to here in a few minutes. So beyond that, oh, I don't want to forget about this. So we get up here to customers, and this is where we've built our customers out as well. So we mapped and merged and everything together, and then we come up with our customer base. And we can click on any of these customers. And so like for Ruth here, this is all of the information that we've gathered from that process that I just explained, and some of the other processes that we're going to get to in a second of building out our measures and our segments. And it builds out our customer card. All the information that makes up that data, some of the activities that we have, and then just her base contact information. So let's start talking about measures. And measures are really just kind of calculations that we're making off of the data that we just ingested, that we just merged together. We want to make some standard calculations from that unified data. And so here's some of the ones that I have pre-built that are in this trial. And I'll just drill down on a few of these, and we can look and see what they mean. So we have the average web purchase. If I click on the edit there, we can see that this is fairly simple. It's just, it's doing an average of the e-commerce purchases total price. So it's taking the total price field from the e-commerce purchases data source and giving us an average value. Let me go back for a second. And if I click straight on it, then it'll also show us all of the customer IDs and all of the web purchase values that it's taking into account when it does that average. So we can see kind of the source data that is feeding into this measure. We can look at another one, which is this store purchase. And it's really, I guess I'll bypass that one because it's really the same thing. It's just for store data as opposed to web data. Let's look at the lifetime spend. This one's a little bit different. So this one's just giving us one number, and it's giving us one number of 18 million, almost $19 million of lifetime spend. So let's drill down on that and see how we calculated this one. This one is taking a sum of the total purchase field from e-commerce purchases plus the total purchase field from point of sale purchases, putting both of those together, adding those together, and then taking a sum of all those values and giving us one master value of the lifetime spend that we have. So I guess that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, we could go down through and kind of look at each one of these, but we're taking average values. We're doing total sum values of a lot of our different data. Some of these are business level values, and some of them are customer level values. And after we built these, then we run them. It churns through the data and kind of spits back out the results that we're seeing right now. So that is measures. Let's talk about segments now. So moving on to segments, I built out 3 segments for our demo, and I'm going to look at the summer promo segment. If I just drill straight down on the summer promo, it's going to give us and I don't have a lot of time data in my data set, so I don't have a nice graph here, which you would normally see if we had data over time to show. So kind of boring. I have one data point here, but down below, we can see all of the different people that have fed into this summer promo segment. So this is our source data for the summer promo segment. And if I hit edit, now we can see how I built this summer promo. The summer promo was built off of our master customer measure of average store purchase. So that was that measure that we saw before, that previously in the measures place. So I needed to create that measure first, so then I could use it in the segments section. So I created that measure of average store purchase. I said, okay, take that measure value, give me everything from that measure value, which is greater than or equal to 113, and give me all of the customers from our customer insights collection, where the date of birth is greater than or equal to 1/1/1981, and give me from that same database where date of birth is less than or equal to 12/31/96. So we're looking for a young group of people here, or youngish, I guess maybe more like millennials, that have a average purchase of greater than 113, that were born in that range, and then just give me all the records that meet that criteria. So after all of those rules have been defined, that's when we get this data and the data where we have our summer promo. We have a number. We have a segment size of 770 people, and here are all the 770 that feed into our summer promo. And now we can run, analytics or marketing campaigns or whatever else we want to based on that summer promo. I won't bore everybody by drilling down on the rest of these, but they were built in the same way. So we have a high risk for churn, which we're going to talk about in a little while. And then we have a high value online customer segment. And those, once again, are just segments of our customer list that we've defined through those rules, so we can use them later on. And I guess the high point there is we're just grouping our unified data together. We're finding ways to group it together. Calculations are measures or calculations of our data. Segments are grouping of our data. So now let's talk about enrichment. We have our data in there. We've created some measures. We've created some segments. Now we want to talk about enriching our data. And a lot of this is based on, or all of what I'm going to show is based on Microsoft Graph data. So there's this great, I guess, community, or, they've gotten a lot of data from worldwide data, brought it together and put it in Graph. Microsoft has, and provided it to us so we can use in Customer Insights. And in the scenario here, we're talking about a coffee shop in a hotel. So I've chosen to have retail brands around coffee shop and beverages and snacks as what we're going to enrich with. They're also, just to kind of show you what else is available, if you come out here to discover, I've chosen brands and interests, but there's also company data, location, demographics, enhanced address, and secure file transfer protocol data that we can get. That's all Microsoft Graph originated that we can use to enrich our data off of. So let's go back and look at the enrichments that I've chosen. And if I choose retail brands, now we can see that out of 5.1, 5,100 profiles, we have 1,200 that we were able to enrich based on the rules that I'm about to show. And here are, so I chose Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Blue Bottle Coffee, Peet's Coffee, and Caribou. And based on the customer base that we have, this is the interest level. There's a huge interest level in Starbucks, a little bit less in Dunkin' Donuts, and then it falls off from there for these other coffee shops. And even within the interest level, it shows a level of interest level, whether it's medium, high, or very high. So let's see how we established our customer base for these enrichments. And I hit the wrong button. But here is some of, well, I can talk about this now. This is not a problem. Here's some of our data points that are in our enrichment. So if I come down here and I look at, for instance, industry, we can see, oh, this is all food and grocery. So that's not a great one to look at. Sorry about that. If we look at gender, though, we can see that 1,045 of our customer base was female, and 514 of our customer base was male that went into the calculation of our brand's enrichment. So we can get to that data, but what I really wanted to show is here. I wanted to show how I edited and built this. So we have our retail brands and country of region, which is the United States where I'm at. I chose these brands, and I could edit and change that if I wanted to get a different result, or I could build a brand new enrichment if I wanted to. We have some preferences. So we're including medium to very high affinity levels. We have an exact match precision. And we are mapping on, and these are the things that we're mapping into Microsoft Graph for. So Graph, we're giving Graph date of birth, gender, country, postal code, city, and state. And then Graph is returning that graphical information of, hey, this is based on that information. This is how many of those people would be interested in Starbucks or Caribou or Peet's Coffee based on this demographic data and what we've gathered from the general population of people. This is what we're returning. So like I said, let me get back to here. Then, so that was just retail brands. And then if we drill down on beverages and snacks, I also said, okay, let's take that same group of people and say, how many of them are interested in non-alcoholic beverages? How many of them are interested in desserts, snack foods, baked goods, and alcoholic beverages? So that we know the brands that they're interested in, but maybe just the general things that they're interested in. So once again, if we're running a coffee shop, we know, hey, these are the things that maybe we need to key in on and sell because our customer base, the people that we're trying to sell to, are interested in these things. So really, ultimately, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make predictions based off of our demographic data. So let's go ahead and let's look at our Azure machine learning model that we are going to pull into Dynamics. So here is a pre-built model that that we built out, and this is a little more. This might be interesting to some people, but I just wanted to show that we can get quite detailed with our Azure machine learning model. And this is actually a pre-built hotel churn model that is available to anybody that wants to go out and find it through Azure. So Azure kind of has this pre-built model, and then I connected it and drove all the data that we were just talking about through this model to get some results. And this is how I got my hotel churn data that we'll see in Customer Insights. but there's a lot of different things. Let's look at a little bit of this detail. Where we're importing data, we're selecting columns in the data set, we're doing some editing of the metadata, we're joining some of the data, then we're selecting some more columns, we're doing some SQL transformations. I'm not the expert that would probably build this, but there's a lot of DBAs out there and data scientists that would build something like this for a customer. This is definitely taking it a step further, where you can live inside of Customer Insights without needing to do this. This is just that next level. If you have if the basic tools aren't meeting your needs, or if you have a customer or you have a data scientist that can do something like this for you, we can build this and then use it in Customer Insights as as another piece to the data model. So once we get all the way down through all these steps of churning the data through, we can return that as a web service output. And then we consume that in Dynamics as, let me get to the right place. Yeah, our high risk for churn segment is using the my scoring endpoint, which I may not have hit on this too much before, but that's the name of that Azure machine model that we built, is the my scoring endpoint. We're getting these scored probabilities greater than 0.8, and then they're returning all records. So we're using that model and then making a segment out of it. All right, so this is all great, and hopefully I haven't gone too fast and blown you away with a lot of information here, but I do have a short period of time. But we've gotten all this data. We have unified it. We've enriched it. We have a lot of different things that we can do with it. Now, like I said before, we're not really going to send people into and give them a login to Customer Insights to come in and see the data either from the homepage or from the customer cards. Plus, there's a lot of other really cool things we can do with this data that's not oriented in that way. So how do we use this data? Well, we either use Dynamics to get the data out of here and show it in Dynamics, which people can use. Users can interact with it in Dynamics. We're getting a lot of our data from Dynamics also into here. And then we can use the Power Platform to interact with our data. So I'm going to start with the Dynamics scenario. And we can create a connection to a lot of different things. These are third-party connections from Customer Insights to other places. And here are all, and I've chosen this Dynamics 365 marketing connection in what I'm about to. We can look at the exports then. And so I connected it, and we can see that we are actively exporting to Dynamics Marketing from Customer Insights. And then if I come up to the exports section, we can see what that means. So I have my connection that I established before. It's ran successfully. And what I've done is I've come in here, connected it to marketing, and used the contact ID as my key to connect to contacts in Dynamics. And we're exporting these different segments into Dynamics. And I know this has been talked about in another segment in this conference of using segments in marketing. Well, that's what we're going to talk about right now. We're going to talk about building those segments in Customer Insights and then sharing them to marketing so that we can view and use them inside of the marketing application. So if I come out here into Dynamics and into my marketing app, we're in the dashboard right now. But if I come down here into segments, now we can see that high risk for churn segment that I exported into Dynamics. We have, and let me see here how much data I have. I think maybe, yeah, I experienced this before. My data model is not really exporting into here very well, to be honest with you. But we see that the segment exists. So it did export from Customer Insights into Dynamics. And we can see on the General tab here that the external segment URL is from Customer Insights. that our external source is Customer Insights, and the last time that it was refreshed. So I think there is something I need to fix that isn't working quite right, because if we go into members, we're not getting a lot of data here. And we should see the same segment information that we saw in Customer Insights here. So once again, something I need to look into. But we see that we are able to get segments from Customer Insights into marketing. In much the same way, if I jump over into my Customer Service Hub app, and I drill down into contacts, well, at a high level, we can see we have a lot of the same contacts, or all of the same contacts, not many of the same, but all of the same contacts here in Customer Insights that we, or in Customer Service, sorry, that we had in Customer Insights. And if I drill down on Abby Moss, here is all of the information for Abby. And just to drive this home, which I didn't before, and I kind of meant to do this, I'm going to come back here into Customer Insights and find Abby Moss, so we can just see that the same data is in both places. So here's Abby in Customer Insights with all of her data and all of her connections and all of her things in Customer Insights. And then over here in her picture's different, but all the same data is there. She's still from California, and she has all the same contact information. And once again, apologize. I think there's a little bit of something going on with my connection, with my export connection between Customer Insights and Dynamics. But we're supposed to see here also customer card information from Customer Insights into, so we can see Customer Insights timeline information, KPI, and demographic information, all within Dynamics. And so, and the way, let me show that real fast. I'm getting a little bit deeper maybe than I wanted to, but I think this is important. So if I come down into my contact Customer Insights form that we can see we're using here in Dynamics, if we get all the way down into there and look at the customizations, we can see that I have this Customer Insights timeline, the KPI, and the demographics. And the way that this works is if I drill down on that field that's displaying there and get into controls, this is another really cool feature that I like about Dynamics, and something that I talk about sometimes at in different events, is PCF controls. There is a really neat PCF control, which is Customer Insights oriented, that you can download as a solution into Dynamics, and then you can use to display those different values if you have it set up correctly, which once again I need to work on. But this one in particular is the Customer Insights timeline control, and you can insert that in there, and then that should show the timeline data here on our form directly from Customer Insights. So I think that's pretty cool, as long as it works the right way. Let's then jump into the Power Platform. So Power Platform, first thing I'm going to hit on is our Power App. So we built this Power App here off of the data in Customer Insights. Here is our coffee shop app, and this is our homepage in our Power App. We can go in and do a customer search, and we can find Abby once again, same person that has existed all the way through our scenario here. Originally came from Dynamics. We put her into Customer Insights. We did some mapping and merging and analysis on her data, and now we're using that data in a Power App. We have her, her contact information. She doesn't really have any activity yet since this is a trial, and her current points and lifetime value isn't really coming through, but that is some of the calculations that we would do that would then show in this Power App. And then if she had used this Power App for a while, she could have some recommendations of different things that we're recommending to her in the coffee shop. And then we also have a Power Automate flow that allows her to check into the coffee shop. So we can click here. It takes a little while, so I'm not going to demonstrate this full, start to finish. But we can click this button, which would then kick off the flow. The flow would do several different things, which would check her into the coffee shop, and it would generate an activity record for her and her activity. And we could see every time that she's visited the coffee shop, for how long, what date, maybe what she ordered, things like that. Once again, see her current points and her lifetime value. And this is kind of a loyalty program for the coffee shop. If we come down here, we can also, this is kind of more general Power App sort of thing, but we can build a locations, all of our coffee shop locations with a map. We could also build in here maybe some of our different coffee varieties that we have and be able to suggest those to our customer base. Once again, not really customer insights oriented, but how we can work customer insights in with our Power App and have them work together. And then just kind of lastly, the same thing with coffee machines. We could try to sell coffee machines from our Power App and have that all integrated with our customer insights data. So interacting, showing data, but also inputting data into the Power App so it can go back into Dynamics and then ultimately customer insights, get more analysis out of that. So once again, it's kind of building itself now, where we're getting data, it's building itself, it's doing its own analysis, and it's giving us new analysis back based on what we're gathering. So we talked about Power Apps. We talked about Power Automate with the flow of triggering and checking Abby into the coffee shop. Let's also talk about Power BI. So we have all this great customer insights data. And once again, we don't really want to use the customer insights interface to view the data. But what if we just want to look at the data? We don't really want to interact with it all that much like we would in a Power App. Well, we can display it in Power BI. And I almost think this is one of the most powerful things. This is kind of the end product. This is we've done all the hard work of customer insights. We've even built maybe that Power App. But this is where we can view the data and we can see the final product, and we can display it to everybody. So we can show that average online purchase value. We can show that average store purchase. We can show a timeline and a graph of online purchases, over the months. And, in the cold winter times in the Northern Hemisphere, we see that we have more purchases than in the summertime when it gets to be warmer and people aren't purchasing coffee as much. That's online, and we see kind of the same trend with our store purchases. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, obviously, with Power BI, and this is just kind of a simple thing of how we've shown to display that. But we can take this in any direction that we want to, and mix and match, and once again, even take our data and slice it down even more, like you can with Power BI, and show end users or show executives of the company or owners, what's happening month over month, and on an overall term of our data here. And then I guess really the last thing I'll hit on, and I haven't built this out just to be honest, which is the kind of the last piece of the Power Platform, the Power Virtual Agents. So it would be possible to build out a Power Virtual Agent that would interact with the data as well, where we would ask questions, interact, put that data of the questions that we got back into our data set. And maybe the data set is influencing the questions that we ask based on the data that we've already gathered. And so we could build out that Power Virtual Agents piece as well. So let's go back into my PowerPoint and kind of finish up, since we're about 42 minutes in, it looks like here. And kind of as a summary, our Dynamics 365 Customer Insights is a low-code, no-code platform with the purpose of unifying data and providing automated data analysis. Customer Insights uses measures, segments, Microsoft Graph data, and Azure ML models to tell stories and make predictions based on the data collected. And Customer Insights is focused on customer-related use cases and the supporting data sources that will provide the analysis. I highly, if anybody is interested in this, I say read up as much as you can. There is a YouTube channel out there that has a lot of great videos that Microsoft has built, that certain teams in Microsoft has built out to let people know. But the best way is just create a trial and go out there and start playing around with this stuff, kind of build your own examples and figure out how it works. So I'll leave you once again with my contact information. If you're interested in reaching out to me, going and checking out my blog, add me on Twitter or LinkedIn if you want to. That is it for my presentation. So I guess we can start talking about questions at this time.
Thank you very much, Scott, for that great in-depth use case as well. So it was great to see you putting customer insights into action there, and a lot of the questions I believe you answered whilst in your demonstration. The last question is by Ali, asking, so Customer Insights is the customer master data management tool. Can you use this to import customers into other sources, and D365 is just one of them? Plus, can you view the analytics in customer engagement using the Customer Insights cards in CE? Am I right in my understanding?
Basically, yeah, that card is very valuable and a great way to then put that data back into Dynamics. I think it's maybe, I don't want to read too much into the question. I think it may be a little bit less functionality than maybe he's asking for, but it gives you a lot of great things that you can, put that KPI data back in there, demographics and the timeline, and all of that's very valuable. It's just not as flexible as defining it all exactly the way that you want it. You kind of have to take some of the pre-built that comes with the customer card that you can get out of the solutions marketplace.
So it's really aimed for the functional consultants, would you say, Scott?
Definitely. Yeah, this is definitely a functional consultant tool, which fits right into what I do. I'm more of a functional consultant, but when you start talking, and it will go to the next level, which is what I talked about with the Azure ML. But you do probably need, if you're a functional, then you need somebody that's a data scientist to help you build that ML model that then you can use in Customer Insights.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, I can't see any other questions. Scott, do you have any final comments or announcements to make?
I do not. I just I'm going to continue building out content and putting it out there in my blog and posting it on LinkedIn. So check LinkedIn and Twitter and anything else. So that's why I let me reshare actually real fast in case I blinked off of it too quickly. Let me get to it.
It'd be great if you could share your contact.
I'll share my
chat as well.
I'll share my screen again and show that contact information. But the point is, the last point I was going to make is follow me, look for my content. I'm going to continue putting content out there into the community. I'm very community oriented. So my blog is the365thoughts.com. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, check out my YouTube. And if you are so inclined, check out TikTok as well. I think it's kind of a unique thing I'm doing there, but I'm going to keep doing almost dailies on TikTok.
That's great to see you on TikTok. That's fantastic. For those who are actually on TikTok, I guess it'll be great for the millennials who are here today. Right. For anyone using that, then I guess it's a great way of digesting bites of information and knowledge. So that'd be quite interesting to see there, Scott. If I had TikTok, I would love to see that content. It would be very interesting indeed. Well, thank you, Scott, for joining us today. I know it's actually very late in the day, actually. So the bootcamp actually began 12 hours ago, believe it or not, Scott. So it has been a long day for a lot of the attendees. So I just want to thank you. Thank you for that great session. That really addresses a very, very important part of the Dynamics 365 ecosystem, which is very different to how it was a year or two ago. And that's the direction in which Dynamics is now heading. So once again, thank you, Scott, for that.
No problem.
Great stuff. So that was Scott Druller, guys. And now, in order to not really waste anyone else's time and really to crack on with things, I think let's see if we can get D365 Goddess, aka Diane Taylor,
Hello, hello, Diane, I'm here.
Diane is online. Fantastic. So Diane, could we be cheeky and ask, would you be okay to start your session a bit earlier, 10 minutes earlier than originally planned?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
I'm good.
Fantastic. That's great to hear.